So before we move forward, I wanted to just introduce another annotation which we would use uh, and which will come quite handy in removing boilerplate code is the required args constructor, right? So we would often see that in the controller class, we have this constructor injection that we have done of the service class, right? But if even if you want to get rid of this line of code here, and instead you want to just annotate it, we have something called required args constructor as well, right? And this is again complaining because we already have an all args constructor sort of a right, which takes in the only attribute that we have in the controller class, which is the training service, right? So if I just remove this, and now it's gone. So basically it will automatically create a uh, another constructor right, with all the attributes uh, that exist in this particular controller class. All the reference will be automatically injected when the training controller bean is instantiated, right? So this is another annotation that we will see and you will see it in a lot of projects being used, right? So I thought I'll just mention it again. We're going to see these, and as you can see, this is declared as final, right? So my IntelliJ IDEA has already appended final for all these attributes which come under the required args constructor, right? So with this, and just one more point to note here is that in a lot of these editors, the annotation processors are not enabled by default, right? So if you add Lombok to the class path, or if you add Lombok library to the as a dependency in your pom.xml and you build your code, and you do not see those annotations like at the rate data or at the rate all args constructor, if you do not see any of those annotations, just go to the settings or the preferences of the editor and look for something called annotation processor, right? Most likely it will be unchecked and you will have to check it in order to see these annotations, right? In the worst case, after checking, you might have to restart your editor, but in most of the editors that I've seen, it shows up immediately after checking the annotation processors, right? So just that small note, in case you don't see these annotations even after adding the library in the pom.xml and building the code, then look for annotation processor setting and just enable it.